Mark Jenkinson.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Can I just start by thanking my honourable and right honourable friends across government for the level of engagement this weekend as I wrestled with the decision in front of us today. And like many colleagues, I have wrestled. On the face of it, the whole of Cumbria, which is 2,600 square miles for only 500,000 people, lumped in together as one, with the narrative in the written ministerial statement being less than helpful and seemingly at odds with my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Health's comments just 2 days earlier. My constituency of Workington sits entirely in the borough of Allerdale, who entered national restrictions at Tier 1 and leave them in Tier 2. But drill down into the data, and our rate as we entered those restrictions suggested we were already in Tier 2 territory, or may have been in short order. The narrative also fails to set out the impact that the local outbreaks it references and the over-60s rates, in some cases 90 minutes away from my constituents, may have on our shared health infrastructure. Since Thursday, I've met with local health leaders who overwhelmingly ask that I support the government in these restrictions in order to protect our local NHS. The nature of this virus means it is not a simple calculation of empty beds. I would ask that my honourable friend take note going forward of the impact on us that have unavoidably small hospitals and rural health infrastructure shared across boroughs. I've had many communications from constituents, ranging from threats if I support the restrictions to desperate pleas from constituents who have put their lives on hold for 8 months to not throw it all away at the last hurdle, as the vaccine at the finish line is in view. I also can't ignore the fact that this can't be a binary decision on tiered restrictions or no restrictions if we're to control the virus. Having fought so hard to keep gyms, hairdressers and personal care open, I don't want to condemn those businesses to that again. The loosening for these businesses is welcome. Having had those discussions, the discussions about justification and the route out of restrictions, and the government having committed to publication of data and to meaningful review, I remain hopeful that a more localised approach can be taken. I'm happy that most of my asks to be able to support the government have been addressed, but I have one more as I support government tonight. We've condemned the leisure and hospitality industry to as good as closure in Tier 2. For many, November and December make or breaks the year. I thank the Treasury for the support that has been forthcoming to date, but it's not enough to consider only those that are closed outright. The additional support for wet pubs is welcomed, but there are many other leisure and hospitality businesses that are significantly impacted by those restrictions. And then there is the supply chain. I recognise the parlous state of the economy and do not envy my right honourable friend the Chancellor, but the loss of an entire sector has larger long-term ramifications. Necessity forces government's hand, but where the government confiscates, the government must compensate. I ask that my right honourable friend and her colleagues keep this at the forefront of their discussions, but make the point that time is running out for many of these businesses and the jobs that they support.
Thank you.